Now let's get back to matters. Sports. We were having a couple of conversations, and now we shall be heading into the second conversation of the day, based off of something quite, well, magnificent that happened over the weekend. As we all know, Kenya qualified for the FIBA Afro Basketball Championship 2021 edition after, well, after 28 years. So maybe obviously you could not get someone from the Morans and to speak on it, but we are going to be having a conversation with one of the best basketball coaches in Kenya, and maybe he should tell us, he should start by telling us why he was, he was not in Cameroon himself. Speaking of none other than Humphrey Mugendi. Thank you very much, Humphrey. So maybe you can start by telling us why you were left behind.
Thank you, Richard. I have to say, we have we call it, what do I say? We have our own decisions to make. And the Morans story is a story for all of us as Kenyans, and there are those people who are part of that glory. And I don't believe into becoming part of the glory that I was not. I would rather be part of the glory as a Kenyan than to be there and then you're like, you jumped into a moving ship. So I personally, I'm a #1 fan of Kenyan Morans.
True.
And every one of them did their best to make us proud. So whether I'm in Cameroon, I'm in Kenya, Morans, they have my support.
They have your support.
Yes.
Indeed. I was about to say something. They say in something they say out there in popular culture, they say, sorry, too modest, but I get it. Now, of course, maybe for Kenyans, it's a big step maybe, and for you as a former basketball player, basketball coach, a shareholder in the basketball sports as a discipline, what does that win? What does Kenya earning that qualification to the Afro Basketball Championship mean to you?
It's a big win for Kenya, and especially not only for Kenya, but for our zone. According to the FIBA zones, we are zone 5. So zone 5, we can boast about it because we have Egypt, who have already qualified, South Sudan qualified, Kenya qualified, Uganda qualified. So out of the teams in the zone, even Rwanda has qualified. We have 5 teams in the Afro finals. So as a country, we at least now we are making our steps back to basketball, and I have to say, this crop of players, we need to appreciate them. After 28 years, that's a whole generation, and whatever they have done for this country, it will remain to be the history in this country, because we beat Egypt in one of the qualifiers. We've never beaten Egypt in any team sports. Angola is one of the powerhouses in Africa. We beat them on Saturday. And I have to say, Taylor is a guy that the president needs to honor him, because that last basket.
For those who don't know, Tyler Ngwa is the one who scored that last basket against Angola to take Kenya through, of course.
Yeah, the last basket was not only the last basket, but the play itself. I don't think the coach called the play, but Taylor, being a professional player, I have to say, is a player that you need in a team. And whoever he plays for, he must be so proud of him. So we as Kenyans, we are proud of you, Taylor.
That's a big player. When it comes to, such moments, as you say, it's hard really to, pinpoint that play to the coach. That comes down to the individual, of course. You have to take a risk. And he took it.
Exactly.
And it paid off.
Exactly.
Now, moving on, of course, how do you think they're going to base off the, rankings and, seedings for moving forward?
Seeding, that is one of the biggest nightmares. After losing yesterday, we put ourselves in a very awkward position, but we cannot blame them because, one, everybody who saw the game on Saturday, this game was not an easy game. And given the time that they played and the time that they played the last game they played Mozambique, there was very little time to have enough rest.
Yeah, true.
And being a qualifier, you don't have time for rest. So it's a matter of how good your players are mentally and how good you have a technical bench. I'm not saying we don't have a good technical bench. Neither am I saying we have a bad team.
Yeah.
The thing is, all that went down, we got ourselves in a very awkward position, but we have qualified. The only thing is, in terms of seeding, we will end up in a very difficult group. We'll either find ourselves in either Nigeria, who are highly ranked, Tunisia, are also highly ranked. So we just wait for the seeding, but it will not be an easy pool.
Moving forward.
Yeah, moving forward.
And of course, sorry to go back to yesterday's game, but then again, as you said, there was little time to prepare since we had played on Saturday, and then we were playing, you know, the last game on Sunday, which we had already qualified, yes. But as for those who were watching that game, there was a certain, let's say, impatience exhibited by our players. Do you think that is to blame for how that game went down? Of course, not that, you know, it was obviously a good win for us on Saturday. We are through. But then again, do you think that's something that they should work on moving forward, especially that now, as you just said, when it comes to the seeding, we're going to be in a tough position?
I've been a coach, and I'm still a coach, and I know the players. The players can get the coach in a very difficult position. I'm not saying that is what they did, but I'm sure these players, they had at the back of their mind that we are going for 2 wins. We won the first win in the first round of qualifiers. This is the final round of qualifiers. We just need a win. So they were so sure that they can beat Mozambique.
Because they have done so before.
Yeah,
not so long ago, actually.
Yes, we beat Mozambique in Kigali.
Yeah.
So they were so sure they would beat Mozambique. For us to beat Angola, that was a big plus. So they were so confident that they will beat Mozambique. And Mozambique, on the other side, they did not want to leave the qualifier. They knew they were out, but 0 without any win. So they had to get their win. So they put their focus on beating Kenya. As on the other side, we were so confident that we'll beat Mozambique. So our overconfidence, that is what that costed us losing the game yesterday. Not the coaching, not the players, but our overconfidence. Which happens to players. Yeah. So we cannot blame them. It's part of the game, and a lot of things happen in sports.
Okay. Yeah. It was actually Kenya's first win against Angola, so it's quite... I feel like I was, you know, you understand how it feels like in that situation. But then again, let's get back to, let's talk about the technical bench. How do you think they're able to make that team gel so quick? Considering those players, most of them are professional players who, most of them don't even play here in our local leagues. So what is it about this team and this technical bench that has actually enabled them to be able to, you know, gel that team in such a short time, really? For such a huge tournament, a huge task?
Gelling is part of the team, but I believe in, if you're a professional player, you know at the back of your mind, the peak of your career is playing for your national team. So when you get a call-up, you give your all so that you're in the final squad. So gelling up is very important. But being professional players, what we need to do is we have the window when we can play the the games, the Afro itself. And I'm sure by the time that time comes, we will have a break. They will have breaks from their leagues. So what we need to do is we need to have them come immediately so that we can have enough time. The local-based players, what we need to do is we need to have a day whereby all the local-based players who are in the team and who we think can make in the call-up can have a training once a week so that we can have continuity of the Morans. We don't have to break the continuity of the Morans. So And again, I think our federation is an able federation. The chairman has been a coach of basketball. The treasurer is a coach of basketball. They still coach basketball at high school level. Coaching at high school level, at national level, basketball is basketball. So I'm sure those are the nitty-gritties that they need to do, and I'm sure they will do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, speaking on the game, of course, we started off on a bad note, the first two matches. But then again, watching all those matches, including our win on Saturday, and then our loss yesterday to Mozambique, unfortunately, what can you say moving forward the team needs to work on most?
On Friday, we lost to Senegal. To me, that was a loss, but comparing to the first round that we played in Kigali, we lost by 34 points. On Friday, we lost by 18. So we see this progression in terms of playing against the big guys. Remember, Senegal is top 10 ranked, and we are 115. So considering the rankings, we are making steps, 34, 18. So, and again, seeing that when we lost 34 points, we had another coach. Now we have another coach. So we also need to give the technical bench some time, because the players are still the same.
Yeah.
We need to give the technical bench some time so that she can understand the players and the players can understand her, so that the systems that she wants to use in the team can be compatible to the team.
Okay.
Yes.
And now, since you've spoken about the just ending competition a lot, but now moving forward, you did mention something about maintaining this Morans team. And for you as a coach, do you think we are taking the right steps in ensuring, continuing the succession of the team? Because if this is not the best time to build on, our quality and the level at which you compete in when it comes to basketball, then I don't know of another better opportunity. So maybe, do you think you're on the right track with what we are doing even with other local players, and even, the programs that we have when it comes to mentoring kids to, get into basketball?
Basketball is, I can tell you, basketball it's next to football. So many players, so many young players, if they don't play football, they play basketball. All over the estates, you will find them playing basketball, either with a basketball or with something else. So what we need to do is, and I commend the bringing of this young man called Joel, which is a young man, he's 25 years. So we are starting to do what we call development and transition of the Morans. Joel, which is a young player. Taylor is still young. Ronnie Ngundo is still young. So these three players, no, we have Taylor, Ronnie Ngundo, and then we have Preston Bungay. This could be the pillars of transition of this team. Remember, Griffith is 35 years. I have so much respect for Griffiths. He is a great player, and he has been the pillar of the team. Desmond has given his all in the team in terms of player, so many things that we know he does behind the scenes. And so it is up to the federation, the technical bench, and the basketball stakeholders that we start transitioning the team slowly. If you remember that when the Morans started, the name started coming up, there is the Afrocan that we played in Mali.
Yeah.
We can use the Afrocan for the local-based players. We can get the local-based players to play in the Afrocan. Then from the Afrocan, we can transit the good players that we see can replace players in the Morans. And now the Morans can be in the transition. They can transit and others can come in. So as a federation, and I'm happy the federation is listening to the stakeholders, and we are working closely with them. And I'm sure some of them are watching right now, and they will take the notes and they will do what is necessary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another exemplary thing witnessed over the weekend, over this period of qualifiers, there is another topic that has been, that is being discussed recently, it's about the coach. Liz Mills, very well, she has managed to help this team qualify, of course, and I want to speak about what impact that has on, basketball coaches like yourself, of course, whereby she is totally, her credentials are, I'm trying not to take away anything from anyone in this perspective. I'm sure you do understand.
Yes.
Yeah, but I want to talk about the pressure or the motivation, that the fact that she has managed to take this team to the championship finals after 28 years. Maybe what kind of pressure or motivation does that bring on local coaches, especially like yourself, really?
I have to say that the current breed of players of Morans, anyone who has a knowledge of basketball can take them to the Afro qualifiers. The only aspect that is needed is the technicality. You see, that's another platform.
Exactly.
And I've been following Liz, and in terms of statistics, she's very good. So that is one thing that we as local coaches in the field of basketball, that we in the local arena, we don't have statistics. I remember when all the pools were ready, we have one of our bloggers who was saying, this group will top this group because blah, 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 as the bloggers talk.
Yeah.
But Liz was there giving statistics, and everybody rubbished Liz. But she knew what she was talking about. So what I can say is we need to learn from her. As a coach, you are a student throughout. Until the day you'll stop coaching, you stop becoming a student.
Yeah.
So you learn from everyone. So whatever Liz has brought, it's not competition to the local coach, but she's trying to improve our coaching abilities and our coaching techniques. In terms of, in basketball, there is this thing we call statistics. We need to keep statistics of our players.
Yeah.
That is what she has brought here. And for me, I have to say, I congratulate her for history. She's the first lady to make history to coach a national team and take them to Afro.
Okay.
Congratulations, Liz.
Okay. You see, nowadays, we always aim at making sure that both men's teams and women's team are on the same level of competition. And everything, every chance, every opportunity, even in terms of infrastructure, all that is what even the Federation has been working on for the last few years. But then again, let's talk about, once again, the motivation or what this means for not only women coaches in basketball, but also, women players. Because even most women's teams are actually coached by men. You do understand my point? Yes. So maybe this, for Kenya, is this going obviously to work out as an advantage for, because we have very good teams here in Kenya, women's team basketball, but what do you think this means for them, for Liz to become the first, woman coach to actually take the men's team to the championship finals?
What I can say is, first of all, I have to tell women they should love one another.
They should?
They should love one another. Because women, I'm telling you from a point of coaching view, women will listen to a male coach more than a female coach. Point of experience. I've been coaching women, and there was a time that I was an assistant coach, a female was a head coach, and the women say, no, we want him to be the head coach. So in terms of coaching, I think if women change their perspective of their fellow women coaches, then we will move ahead. But we cannot force it on them. Yeah. It's up to them to make that decision.
Why is that the case, really?
Because if you look at men, men are good be coached by men or women. We accept anyone who becomes a coach. But for women, I don't know. Maybe we can get a female coach. she can tell us why is that. Yes.
Maybe we should get Liz when she gets back.
Exactly.
So anyway, back on the issue of course, ensuring that this success, that we have even teams that, even if they won't perform as good as the current Moran setup is set up, here in Kenya, the local leagues, the competition that you witness personally as a coach, do you think that that is sufficient moving forward? And if not, what do we need to, tweak a bit, fix a few things to actually be on the right track?
I'll address 3 things for the local leagues. First of all, media. Our media, we focus so much on the international sports instead of local sports. That makes our sports not to have impact, because every Kenyan, if not every Kenyan, 70% of Kenyans watch EPL. Basketball circles, some of us wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning to watch NBA. And if we have a game on TV, Gor Mahia versus FC, I personally cannot name even a single player in the Gor Mahia and the FC team. So if our media can come up with something that they will focus, as the Communications Authority of Kenya says, we need to have local content. Even sports, even when you look at, if you look at the news in Kenya, sports we get 5 minutes. Even 5 minutes is a lot of time. And in the 5 minutes, it's, and then, oh, Manchester United beat Arsenal, that's the main news. So in terms of media, we need to start engaging our local leagues. No matter how shambolic they are. I'm not saying that charity begins at home.
True.
So the media, I put a challenge to you, all of you, local, private, I don't know. Second thing is, we need to invest in sports. Federations, government, we need to invest in sports. Whereby, instead of saying, using these young people, as the politicians do, giving them wheelbarrows and the rest, we need to put their energy where it's productive. And where is that? Those young people, I'm sure some of them play something, football, volleyball. If you just go mitaani, jioni, you'll find them playing something. Let us channel their energy where it's more productive. That is in terms of government and federations.
Okay.
Our companies, corporate world, they have something that they call CSR. The CSR, we don't see it. And if some of them want to sponsor something, they put it on golf. Golf, can you name for me one player wa mtaani anacheza golf?
But that comes down to other factors too. You need to appreciate, you need to acknowledge that.
Yes, I acknowledge that. I know that our federations are not accountable. All of them, not basketball alone. Football, every federation, we have issues of accountability. So, as I was saying, I was talking with Wahome before the show, I say, it's up to the corporate world to decide. You see, if you look at the NBA, you see there are those companies that come and sponsor teams, even EPL. They don't engage with the FA, they engage directly with the team.
The teams.
So you engage the team, get some of the players, train them on how to use the money and how to account for that money. That way, if one company comes in, other companies will see. And if companies come in, then media will have to do some coverage.
Yeah.
Because I cannot put my 100 million somewhere and it's not seen. That's to be seen.
Yes.
Publicity. So if we talk about those 3 aspects and we work in tandem with the 3 of them, I'm sure our sports will go somewhere.
Yeah.
And our competition will rise, which means we'll have foreign-based players because we can pay them. Not because we are bringing foreign-based players because our players are not good enough. We are bringing these foreign-based players to make our players compete and up their game so that they can be able to get that spot the foreign-based player was brought. Okay. In that way, Morans will have players from the local teams playing for the Morans.
Okay.
Yes.
As a stakeholder in basketball, in the sports industry in Kenya, my last question will be based off of something that you've mentioned, because these are conversations that people have been planning on having, but we never do, meaning there's no, there's no way we can move forward if the conversations are not had. So lastly, I want you to tell me where, of course, where does the, let's say, not really the blame, really, we're talking about how everyone involved can work together to make it, a reality, the fact that we're promoting our sports here in Kenya. But then again, what is the federation's role in all this, and also stakeholders like yourself, especially because you've mentioned about the media, and you've mentioned about investors. But why is it, do you think, that they are reluctant to work with these federations most of the time? Is it because, like you did mention earlier on, most of the federations can be quite chaotic at times? So maybe, what do you think the federations and, such federations and all stakeholders in sports, maybe what do you think their role should be in ensuring that indeed, even these corporates, because the most important part is the investment. So what do we do? What does the federation do to ensure that the sport is actually attractive to this investor, for the investor to come and pump in money?
I don't think the federation can do anything. It's our government. As simple and clear. Commercialize sports. Yes. Because let us look at England. EPL. Look at the US, NBA. We have NBA, NFL, and NHL, and the Super League. We don't have, in the US, we don't know the cabinet secretary for sports, right? In the UK, we don't know the cabinet secretary for sports. They are there, but they work in conjunction with the Ministry of Sports, Ministry of Education, so that theirs is to see the curriculum in the schools and insert sports in those curriculums in schools. These other leagues are run by professionals in terms of, this is like a company, you run the league, make revenue, pay taxes to the government. That's it. Commercialize sports. Commercialization of sports.
Yes. Man, Humphrey, I really did wish we had more time for this conversation. We've had quite the same conversations, but there are different points, of course, arising, and hopefully we can get to talk about that sometime later. But for now, maybe in regards to Kenyan basketball, just to the viewers, maybe to the basketball fans, as closing remarks, of course, what can you tell them about, the support that is needed from them, by the Morans, by local basketball, even here in Kenya?
First of all, we need to congratulate the Morans for getting us back on stage after 28 years. 1993, I was a small boy. I think I was 11 years. At this moment, it is time that whatever differences we have as a basketball stakeholders, we put them aside. Morans is not for basketball, it's for all of us Kenyans. In terms of development, let us go back on the drawing board and make sure that this pace that the Moran have said, we don't step back. Actually, we need to move forward. We have qualified for the Afro qualifiers. For the Afro, now we need to focus on the World Cup qualifiers. So now we are setting our standards high. So we need to, as a federation, as a basketball stakeholders, we need to hold hands, everybody, even the media, the corporate. And there is something that we forgot to say. We have the national team board that has played the very important aspect of the Morans, the aspect of sourcing funds and making sure that this team is together, bringing the players who are not here. We need to keep it up and we need to work with them. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Humphrey Mugendi, of course. And We sure do hope that we're going to see everything come to fruition, especially when it comes to the line of succession for this Morans team. And once again, congratulations to the Morans, of course, on such a perfect fit. After 28 years, that indeed is a big deal. And for the viewers, don't worry, in the subsequent bulletins, we shall be giving you an update on when, of course, we can expect the Morans back in the country. Of course, we are sure that most of you want to hear from, the team that, brought us the glory. We have a long way to go still, but it is something, and at this point, we are going to take it. Well, don't go too far, because we'll resume with another conversation, last conversation, before we wind up today's edition of Sports Check. See you shortly.